The Billionaire and the Maid's Daughter, a story that changed two lives forever. In a mansion where silence felt heavier than gold, a little girl's hunger would echo louder than every ticking clock. 10-year-old Sophie Miller wasn't supposed to be there, crouched behind the gleaming steel counters of billionaire Harrison Blackwell's kitchen. But hunger doesn't wait for permission. It doesn't care about marble floors or rules etched in fear. It just whispers, louder and louder, until even a child is brave enough to break them. Sophie's tiny fingers trembled as she pressed herself against the cold metal door of the industrial freezer. Her breath came out in tiny puffs. "Just a minute," she murmured to herself. "Just let Mrs. Petrov go upstairs." The kitchen was larger than her entire apartment, a cathedral of stainless steel, copper pots, and polished granite that always smelled like lemon and something expensive. Sophie had memorized its layout, every creak, every shadow, every corner dark enough to hide a small body. Her mother, Anna Miller, worked here, cleaning, polishing, dusting. A maid whose hands were always cracked, whose smile always hid exhaustion. Tonight, Anna was somewhere upstairs, turning down the beds in rooms that no one ever slept in. Sophie's stomach growled. The kind of ache that made her dizzy. She knew what time it was, 9:04 p.m. That meant she had 11 minutes before the head housekeeper came back. Mrs. Petrov, tall, strict, always frowning, was the ruler of this house when the billionaire wasn't around. Every night, she ordered the kitchen scraps to be thrown out by 9:15 sharp. Nothing left behind. No crumbs for mice. No second chances for the hungry. But sometimes the kind-hearted cook Maria forgot to clear a plate or two. A sandwich here. Some potatoes there. Maybe a slice of tart. And Sophie, who had learned the rhythm of the silent house, would wait for that moment, to take what would soon be garbage. She crept toward the service cart. Her heart thudded in her chest as she lifted the foil covering one of the plates. There it was, a bowl of creamy macaroni and cheese, still half full. And beside it, 2 bread rolls hard as stone but still good enough to eat. Her fingers shook as she picked up the bowl. Cold, but beautiful. She was about to take her first bite when a click echoed behind her. The light snapped on. Sophie froze. The bowl slipped from her hands and shattered across the white tile, the sound echoing like thunder. A man stood in the doorway, tall, broad-shouldered, wearing a dark blue robe. His silver hair gleamed under the light. His eyes, tired and hollow, studied her like he wasn't sure she was real. It was Harrison Blackwell, the owner of this mansion, and the man her mother had always told her never, ever to disturb. For a moment, neither of them moved. Harrison had walked into that kitchen expecting silence. For years, his house had been a museum of memories, frozen in time. Since his wife Eleanor died, and his son moved away, laughter had become a sound he barely remembered. Tonight, sleep had escaped him again. He'd gone downstairs to make himself a cup of warm milk, something he hadn't done in decades. But instead of silence, he found a child, trembling, barefoot, and surrounded by spilled pasta. "You," he said quietly, his voice rough. "What are you doing here?" Sophie dropped to her knees, trying desperately to scoop the macaroni back into the broken bowl. Her hands smeared with cheese, her voice shaking. "I'm sorry, sir. Please don't tell Mrs. Petrov. I'll clean it. Please don't fire my mama. Please." Harrison just stared. He had faced ruthless businessmen, negotiated billion-dollar deals, buried the woman he loved, but he had never seen fear like this. Not in a boardroom. Not anywhere. Her clothes were clean but old. Her sneakers had holes. Her eyes were wide, shining with hunger and shame. "Stop," he said, his tone softer now. "Stop, child. You'll cut yourself." Sophie froze, still clutching a handful of cold pasta.
"What is your name?"
Sophie, sir."
"Sophie Miller."
"Miller," Harrison frowned.
"Anna Miller est docteur."
She nodded.
"Where's your mother?" "Upstairs," she whispered.
"She's working. She told me to stay in the lounge. I was hungry." The word hungry hit him harder than he expected. He looked at the cold bowl, the spilled food he wouldn't even have remembered throwing away, and at the child who risked everything just to taste it. Then another voice sliced through the room. "What is the meaning of this?" Mrs. Petrov stormed in, her black uniform sharp, her face crimson with fury. She took in the sight, the broken bowl, the child, the billionaire standing over her. "I knew it," she hissed. "I knew someone was stealing food." "Mrs. Petrov," Harrison began, but she cut him off.
She's a thief.
"And her mother, oh, her mother will pay for this insolence. I'll call security right now. This little rat." "Enough." Harrison's voice was low, cold, and final.
The housekeeper froze.
"She is a child," he said.
"And you will leave US now." "Sir."
"Now."
"Mrs. Petrov Paled."
She clutched her trash bag and stormed out, slamming the door behind her. The silence returned, heavier, thicker than before. Harrison sighed, rubbing his temples. "Well," he muttered, looking at the mess. "Seems we've made quite the disaster." He went to the sink, pulled a clean cloth, and knelt beside Sophie. Sophie gasped.
"Sir, please, don't. I'll clean it."
He smiled faintly. "Then we'll clean it together."
The old man and the little girl knelt on the cold floor, picking up shard and whipping sauce.
Her small hands worked quickly, his slower but careful. When she reached for a broken piece, her sleeve slipped. Harrison caught sight of something in her hand, a small bronze pin, tarnished with age. "What's that?" Sophie tried to hide it, but he held out a gentle hand. "May I?" Reluctantly, she opened her palm. The pin bore an eagle with spread wings, a soldier's service insignia. "It was my great-uncle's," she said softly. "Mama says he was a hero. He died in the war. She gave this to me for luck." Harrison stared at it, remembering the same design on his father's old uniform. His voice softened. He must have been brave. Sophie nodded. "Mama says, we don't run. We help." Something in that sentence lodged deep inside him, the kind of truth money couldn't buy. "Come on," he said finally. "You shouldn't eat cold scraps." Her eyes widened. "Sir." He motioned to a chair at the small staff table. "Sit." She obeyed. He went to the giant refrigerator, fumbling through shelves until he found a covered dish, creamy macaroni and cheese. He heated it clumsily in the microwave and set it before her, steam curling in the air. "Eat," he said simply. She hesitated, then took a bite. The warmth hit her like sunlight. She ate faster, then slower, savoring it like she'd never had a real meal before. When she finished, she wiped her mouth. "Thank you," she whispered. "You're welcome," he said, then leaned forward. "Now tell me, why are you really here, Sophie?" Her small hands twisted in her lap. "Mama's sick," she said finally. "She coughs all the time. The doctor says her lungs are broken. She takes pills, but they cost too much. She gives them all her money, but now, they said they'll stop helping her if she doesn't pay." Harrison's jaw tightened. "And you came here because..." "Because she skips dinner," Sophie said, tears spilling. "She says she's not hungry, but I can hear her stomach at night. I just wanted to bring her something. Just one warm meal." He said nothing. His throat burned. Then softly, "You have nothing to be sorry for." Minutes later, the kitchen door creaked open again. "Mr. Blackwell." Anna's trembling voice broke the air. She rushed in, her uniform wrinkled, her face pale. "Sir, I'm so sorry. I didn't know she..." "Anna," Harrison said quietly. "Please."
"Sit."
She froze.
"Sir, please don't fire me."
"She didn't mean any harm, I swear. I'm not firing anyone."
Anna blinked, lost.
"You're not." Harrison looked at Sophie, then back at her mother. She was hungry. That's not a crime. Anna's lip quivered.
"We don't take charity, sir."
"This isn't charity," he said, standing. "It's dinner." He turned to the stove, poured milk into a pan, and began stirring in chocolate powder.
"Sit."
"Both of you." The two watched in stunned silence as the billionaire made hot cocoa with the awkward gentleness of a man remembering how. He placed the mugs before them. Anna whispered, "Sir, why are you doing this?" Harrison stared at the rising steam. "Because I forgot what hunger looks like," he said.
"And tonight, a child reminded me."
That night didn't end in punishment. It ended in conversation, soft voices in a big, empty kitchen. Harrison asked about Sophie's school, her dreams, her favorite subjects. She told him about stars, and how she wanted to be a pilot like the heroes in the books. He smiled. Your great-uncle would be proud. When they left, he stood by the window long after the door closed, staring into the dark garden, the child's voice still echoing in his mind. The next morning, Mrs. Petrov stormed into his office with a list of rules and accusations. Harrison quietly handed her an envelope, a generous severance package, and wished her well. By evening, Maria the cook had a new helper in the kitchen. Sophie, wearing a clean apron too big for her, stood on a stool, stirring soup. Her laughter filled the hallways, a sound the house hadn't heard in years. Anna protested, of course. But Harrison only said, let her learn. And tell your doctor the bills will be taken care of. Consider it an overdue investment in kindness. Tears streamed down Anna's face as she whispered, Sir, I don't know how to thank you. Raise your daughter to keep her kindness, he said. That's enough. Months passed. The house changed. Harrison found himself coming down to the kitchen more often, to talk, to listen, to laugh. Sophie began bringing him little drawings for his office walls, stick figures, messy hearts, suns with smiling faces. One evening, she handed him something new, a crayon picture of a big house, a tiny girl, and a man with silver hair sitting beside her at a table. This is us, she said shyly. The night we cleaned up the macaroni. He laughed, a real laugh this time. You made me taller, he said. You're tall, she replied, grinning. Just lonely. He looked at her, really looked, and realized the child was right. That night, for the first time in years, he slept. Months later, the story of Harrison Blackwell and his maid's daughter quietly spread among the staff, a story about a man who found warmth again through the hunger of a child. And sometimes, when people asked him why his mansion no longer felt so empty, he'd simply smile and say, because one night, a little girl reminded me what a full heart sounds like. Sometimes, it takes the smallest hunger to feed the emptiest soul.